up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Singing and playing with my mind stayed on spirit. Singing and praying with my mind stayed on spirit. Singing and praying with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Walking and talking with my mind stayed on spirit. Walking and talking with my mind stayed on spirit. Walking and talking with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. So talk to that neighbor this morning. Say hello. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Thank you, Kit Holmes, Jeff Stocky, and David Mendoza. At this time, we'd like to ask everyone to please silence their cell phones. A special congratulations goes out this morning to Xander Vaughn and Sherry Stockman. They were married here at the church yesterday, and we're so excited. We're so excited that they chose to celebrate their new life together here at Unity of Wimberley. And thank you to both of them for the beautiful new planter under the arbor outside the kitchen door. It's a lovely and welcoming addition to the entrance, and we appreciate it very much. Sunday Talks go deeper on Wednesday nights. Our Wednesday night series examines the work of The Anatomy of the Spirit, The 7 Stages of Power and Healing by Carolyn Mace. Join the journey as we explore the body's 7 centers of spiritual and physical power through the Hindu chakras, the Christian sacraments, and the Kabbalah's tree of life, and learn how we pass through each in search of higher consciousness and spiritual maturity. I got through the whole thing without messing up. Yeah. That was really Highway cleanup. The Unity team called a quick litter pickup on 2/3 of our stretch of Highway 3237 Thursday morning at 8 a.m. We loaded over 10 bags of litter, 1 tire, a heavy sign, a 12-foot piece of lumber, and a large plastic bucket. We will be 100% clean after a few cold snaps. Thank you to Richard Newsom, John Clayton, Ron Steele, Sharon and John Criswell, Karen Stockey, and of course, Judy Bradbury. Registration is almost full for the 3rd Annual Women's Retreat on October 5th, 6th, and 7th. Women in Power will be led by Kit Holmes and Reverend Jill Carey and will be held at the beautiful Wellspring Center in Blanco. Go to the website for more details and register today. Our next Unity Supper Club will be Hungarian Rhapsody on Friday, October 12th. Betty, is there anything you'd like to share?
So you know, Hungary is not all babushkas and borscht. We also have crepes and heaven. Buy a ticket and you'll find out what will be on the table then.
Attention, wise women of Wimberley, the Accessories and Home Decor fundraiser on November 3rd will be from 10 a.m. to 12. Please bring your jewelry, scarves, handbags, shoes, and home decor to church. There's a collection box in the fireside room, or just bring your goodies to the fundraiser on November 3rd. All items will be sold on a love offering to benefit our wonderful church on the hill. Join us for brunch and bargains, and check with Karen Stockey if you have any questions. And now the gathering prayer with Maggie Alderman.
Good morning. Let's pray. If you'll take a moment to take a deep breath, a cleansing breath that lets go of the anxiety, the tension, the worry of the weather on your adventurous swim to church today. And in that next breath, become fully present here, grounded in your body, in this place, in this spiritual community where your light shines and where you are primed and ready to receive. Through the living, loving spirit that all of us live and experience our being, we have a source of power right in the heart of our physicalness. And we can draw on those powers in any situation, anything that's going on in our life coming up for us. Today I want to call on the power of release, to let go of those things that are no longer serving us, those fears, those untruths that hold us back from our greater good. And as we let go of those things that are not serving us, we make room for the next phase of spiritual growth, for the next possibility, the next manifestation of ourselves, for this extraordinary power and for the divine being that we all are. I am so grateful. And so it is. Amen.
Children will do what we do, not as we say. Gotta give them a good foundation and let them build on it in their own way. We gotta reach out and listen and love. Let them know they're gonna make it, even though it might get tough. Mothers and daughters, fathers and sons, it goes on. See the best in them as they're questioning. It goes on and on and on. might judge what we do as we make our own way. Gotta give them all forgiveness. They're doing the best they can every day. Gotta reach out and listen and love. They got so much to teach us. Let that be enough. Mothers and daughters, fathers and sons, it goes on. See the best in them as they're questioning. It goes on and on and on. The silver thread, the book of life, choose whatever metaphor you like. This crazy old planet keeps spinning round the sun, it goes on. Mothers and daughters, fathers and sons, it goes on. See the best in them as they're questioning. It goes on and on and on. On and on and on. Goes on and on and on and on. It goes on and on.
Did you all park your canoes side by side out there? You know, the places I expected to run into trouble on the drive-in were not where I ran into trouble. It was right by the Hayes City store where the water was coming across the road, and suddenly my little car was just, it was exciting. So when I got to the road to turn in here, I just pumped the brakes for a little bit to make sure it was all fine. But I really, really appreciate you making your way here today. I know that some were not able to, and hello out there, everybody who's online. And y'all want to say hi to everybody? Hi. Amen. I'm going to build right off of Kit's most appropriate song for this lesson today. It's called Tribal Power, and I want to take us through our story, your story, my story, our story, the story of humanity, and it goes all the way back to our original tribes. So I would like you to just, where you're sitting right now, chant the song of your original tribe. I'm just kidding. Somebody said Om. That is kind of our original chant, I think. I wore red today because tribal power is also the power of the first chakra. And the first chakra color is red. And if you're not familiar with the language of the chakras, it's an Eastern system that assigns power centers in our bodies. And the first chakra is where your tailbone is. It's the root. It's the very beginning of us. And in our study, I know last week I threw a whole new vocabulary at you, and you stayed with me on it. And if you're with us on Wednesday nights, we're going much deeper into the material. But the first chakra is where we begin, because all of our healing, all of our work starts from the bottom up, literally. So that's where we're starting today. So I wore red, but I'm also wearing some tribal things. Now, this is not the color of my clan's tartan. I'm from the Clan Murray, and the Clan Murray tartan has a little more blue in it. It's much prettier. So that's on my maternal grandmother's side, but I'm from Clan Butler on my paternal grandfather's side. And then we've got Scottish on our mother's side. We just don't have all the genealogy. But also on my father's side was our Chickasaw and Choctaw lineage. So I am wearing today the shield ring that is created by a Chickasaw artist, because before the removal of the Native Americans from southeastern United States to Oklahoma, the terrible Trail of Tears, before that, when they lived, our tribe lived in Mississippi, Alabama, they were agrarian people, they were agricultural. But they were also very fierce about protecting their territory. And one of the ways that they protected their territory was that the women were very good at throwing hatchets. So the hatchet women were famed among all of the southeastern tribal nations because they kept everybody away. So I am wearing my shield ring today that is comprised of 4 hatchets together. So now you know. Okay? I would like to learn how to do that, actually. And they have a hatchet throwing, an axe throwing club in Austin, so yeah. Maybe I can hit that post right there. Yeah, Bruce, you better, yeah. So I know about my tribal roots because, this is important, my dad's cousin is not a blood relative. She was adopted. But she took on our tribal heritage as her own. She didn't know anything about her birth parents, and it was difficult in her growing up, much more difficult than it is now, to have found those birth parents. She made our family her tribe. She also married a man from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and they are very into genealogy. So she has done all the genealogical work in our family, all the way back to at least the 1600s. And so she also took that on, her Mormon heritage of finding out where we came from. And so I'm grateful to my dad's cousin, Darlene, for doing all this work. The truth is, we're all born into some kind of tribal system, whether it's our birth family or the family that adopted us, if you are one of those people who was taken in by a loving family. When we're first born, once upon a time you were born, and you didn't know that there was a difference between you and the rest of the universe. Everything was you. Everything was an extension of you, and if your needs weren't being met by this thing that was part of everything, you let it be known that you had an unmet need with a certain amount of indignation, usually. At least my babies did. And then we began to discover that the family we were in had a certain system to it. I didn't grow up around a lot of family relatives because we traveled so much as a child. So I lived in the tribe of Jim and Jackie. And of course, my name is Jill. And after me were Joe, Jimmy, Jana, and Jennifer. Isn't that cute? All 7 of us. And my sister's married to a woman named Joni. So we just are keeping it going. And whatever your family story is, because I hope what's happening right now is you're beginning to remember yours. There's a certain thing that comes with our family tribe. There's a certain thing that comes with the neighborhood, with our hometown, if you had a hometown. Your high school, your football team, the culture of wherever you grew up. And that suits us for a while. There's a certain amount of loyalty that goes with our tribe. There's a certain amount of honor that goes with our tribe. There's a certain amount of justice that's expected in our tribe. And those can be very, very good qualities, except when they're not. Because loyalty can become toxic. Loyalty without question is not always the best kind of loyalty, is it? In this chapter in the book, there are many anecdotes about people whose idea of loyalty got twisted in their families. They're heartbreaking stories. Do you remember when you first determined that to do things the way your family expected was no longer okay with you? Or what your community expected? Or what the norms of society during the time you were growing up was expected? Do you remember that day? When you felt different? Do you remember a time when the code of honor, like we don't talk about those things, when that was no longer okay with you? Do you have a memory of someone in your family, maybe even you, who was dismissed from the family or diminished or belittled by your family? And I say family, not just your family of origin, but your tribe. Because you'd done something and it could no longer be repaired within your tribe. And so you were shunned. So where do all of our stories start? When we go into therapy, where do our stories start? They usually go back to our family of origin, do they not? When we get into recovery, we finally get back to those very beginning things which shaped us. Because our natural evolution would have us begin to see where we are no longer growing within our tribal system. And so we begin to find a new way of having our tribe. Now, this is a very precious topic for me because you are my tribe. And it's a wonderful thing to be in the midst of it. I've watched you and participated with you as you comforted each other in grief, as you celebrated with each other in your passages of life, as you held each other up in the light of healing when you needed it. I've watched you. I've been with you. Yesterday at Sherry and Xander's wedding, the rain held off until about the last 4 minutes of the ceremony. And I just called it tears of joy from heaven starting to sprinkle down on us And then we got through the rest of the ceremony pretty quickly and we got inside. But I watched a tribe of people, some of whom had never met each other, lay out the food that we had all brought. We could have been in a longhouse of one of the Native American tribes. We could have been in one of the longhouses of the Viking people. Same feeling. I watched a young woman doing a fantastic job of multitasking. She had her baby covered up, nursing her baby with her plate of food. And her husband and a man who'd never met her before were helping fill up her plate. That's the way tribes behave with each other. And Sherry and Xander were surrounded by love yesterday. And today, when we congratulated them, they were surrounded by love again. I don't know why they're not here, but for heaven's sake. We had the wedding and everything. And it was my first wedding here. And that was really, really a wonderful thing. It was a wonderful thing to celebrate that way. And next week we're celebrating another wedding. And so here's what we're destined to do. At some point, and it's usually when we start having trouble in all the areas of our body that are affected by the energy in the root chakra, which is like from your tailbone down. So mobility problems in feet, legs, knees. When we have trouble with our reproductive system, when we have trouble with our elimination system, all of those things, when our hips. And so we have an opportunity to take a look at what might be stuck. Now remember that it's very important that we not judge ourselves or hold ourselves with anything less than compassion when we start doing our healing work. We have to take a step back objectively when we realize something needs to be healed in us and we go, oh, isn't that interesting? Let's work on this. And usually we can reach out to our tribe for assistance. Now, let me remind you that if someone came to you and said, you know, I have just discovered that I have this unhealed thing with my sibling, with a priest, with someone who abused me. I have a problem that I haven't forgiven people for rejecting me. If somebody were to come to you and say, I need help with this, what would you do? Would you not gather them up with your love and compassion and with the knowledge of the truth of Spirit and say, I will walk with you on this journey? And if you would be that willing to do that with another, even if you don't know how, even if you don't know what it looks like, wouldn't you say yes? Ergo, you can do the same thing. Bless you. Not the first chakra. So we're going to take the chakras one by one over the coming weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, the Christian sacrament that goes with the first chakra is baptism. Okay. Now, listen to this. I don't know if some of you may never have been baptized. I got baptized a lot. I think I told you about that. Wasn't sure I was saved, because how can you know you're saved if somebody keeps telling you you're a sinner? And how can you know what your sin is when you're 11 years old? Oh, I must have sinned because I feel kind of bad about something. Oh gosh, maybe I need to get saved again. That's a baptism sound, just in case you missed. So I got baptized a lot. But some of you were sprinkled on your foreheads as babies. Some of you didn't have baptism until you were farther along. Maybe you were baptized as a child, but then First Communion was a rite of passage. Maybe bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah was your rite of passage. But to be baptized is to acknowledge the core concept of the first chakra, which is all is one. All is one. Our tribe for us in the beginning tells us all is one. And that is the natural state of things. In this tribe that we have here, you understand what all is one feels like. You might not have felt that in too many places in your life previously, or if you go all the way back to your young life. Because all is one has to be redefined. Because all is one is true. And when you're baptized, you become part of the one. But again, our natural tendency is toward our spiritual evolution, which requires us to question, to step back away from some of our tribal conditioning, and to look at things differently. And sometimes it's not very acceptable. I know that a couple of you have told me that you have relatives that are worried about you being in a cult. So if that's true, then congratulations, I'm your supreme leader, and you must do what I say without question. No. And I know that that's true. Some people think, oh, you're in Unity, or one of those weird churches that, doesn't feel guilty all the time. Do you miss feeling guilty? Good. And if you feel guilty about something, it's something for you to look at. That's all. Because eventually we determine, where does our loyalty really lie? We may have a certain familial loyalty to our aging parents, and so we take care of them. But we also have a loyalty to the things that are the most important for us, that help define who we are. We begin to develop a sense of honor that has less to do with what we learned in the tribe and more to do with what our personal code is. How to keep our word. How to live a life that is as much in alignment with truth as we possibly can. And we discover that justice is not always a black and white issue. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, that is so Old Testament. That is so Hebrew Bible in that evolution of our spiritual life as a human race. And so we discover that justice has a lot more question in it. It was easy when we had easy rules to follow, wasn't it? Well, if somebody does this, then this is what's got to happen to them. Maybe it requires us to take another look so that if we decide on something in the matter of justice, that it's coming from a clear place in our consciousness. That's our spiritual maturity coming forth. So how does this all tie together? We start looking at the parts of our lives that feel unhealed, and our body is a good barometer for that. Now, I want you to hear me say this again very, very clearly. Healed does not necessarily mean cured. Healing has much more to do with where we are in our hearts and our minds, where we are in our alignment with Spirit and what Spirit would have us do in the world, see in the world, be in the world. So we begin to look at our bodies and we say, maybe there is something that is yet to be healed here. Let me take a look. Let me just take a look. And if I need help, I'll ask for it. Yes, I certainly will. Now, we also talked about the tree of life, the Sephirot of the Jewish Kabbalah. I'm going to give this a try. Stanley has been coaching me in my Hebrew pronunciation. It looks like Shekinah or Shekinah. But after I said it about a dozen times in class Wednesday night, Stanley graciously told me that the way you say it is like this. Don't laugh. Shekinah. That wasn't too bad, was it? Where is Stanley? Oh, you're on the slides. How'd I do, Stanley? Oh, well. No, you say it. See? So this is, Protestant gal trying to get to it. But that concept is probably one of the purest. That is one of the purest statements of all is one. It's a feminine aspect of the tree of life that joins us with Gaia, with the earth. And so we have 3 systems here that we can study and plumb the knowledge of so that we have a way to become more whole. And so maybe it's not about cure, but it's about forgiveness. Maybe it's not about a condition going away, but it's about coming to peace with it because we've gained a new compassion for ourselves. Maybe it's because we can say, I'm no longer enslaved by my guilt and I'm not doing things the way my family said I always should do things. Think about all of those times when you've known people, maybe not you, that were expected to follow in the family business. And you went, I don't think so. Think about when you've been in the corporate world and you've seen practices in the corporate world that were either not okay with you or practices in the corporate world that made you bored. And so you went, out of here. I'm stepping out of this tribe to find something that feeds my heart and my soul and it sings to me. So this is an invitation to just take a look. Our tribes are important. And right here amongst each other, we have our tribe of choice, do we not? And you know what we do in our tribe? Sometimes we make mistakes. You know, one of the things we're working on in our tribe right now is not triangulating information and communication. If you got a question about something, go to the source. That's the best way to find out. It just is, I mean, it's kind of like saying, I think I'll get back to Austin via Waco. Why would you do that? So we're working on that in our tribe. What we have here that is so beautiful is a sense of accountability. Everyone has a personal code of honor that is obvious and evident. You keep your word. You look upon each other with compassion and joy. There is such joy that the musicians have to order you back to your chairs in the middle of the song. Go sit down so we can finish. Stop loving each other so much. So my tribe, we're still on the journey with each other. And we're going to be on it for a while, don't you think? And we have more and more people joining us that are attracted by the magnetism of our tribe here and what we're offering. That is a sacred trust that people are placing in us. Not in me, not in the board, all of us. All of us. And so, even on our days when we feel less than ourselves, we have a place that welcomes us just the way we are. Do we not affirm that to our children? Shall we not affirm that to each other? Just the way you are is fine. And we'll heal together, and we'll celebrate together, and we'll laugh and cry. We'll let each other go. We'll welcome each other in. We'll celebrate our rites of passage. We'll make our mistakes, and we'll say, I'm sorry. Breathe. Shall we? Let's take a little journey all the way back to your ancestors' ancestors. Think about the roots from which you came, the strands of DNA that have made you who you are, perfectly imperfect. Think about the messages that you received when you were a little, and the ones that carried you into that time of your life when you said, I must make my own way. I will keep what serves me, and I will let go of the rest. I will honor myself with compassion and gentleness as I heal what needs to be healed, as Spirit reveals to me what needs to be revealed. I will keep my word. I will let go of the things I can't change. I won't take things personally. I will have the wisdom to know what can and can't be changed and what my part is. Above all, I will hold myself in compassion along with the other members of my tribe. And I will present myself to the world with the confidence of the tribe holding me up. And I will invite others, when I am so guided, to come join. And now, beloved, expand, because the tribe is not a closed system here. This is a system that is growing and changing. It is evolving as we evolve. And so remember how we breathe, shoulders back and down, chest wide open. Unafraid and accepting. Welcoming a compassionate embrace and giving one as well. And in all of this, Spirit speaks, and we listen. For surely we are one with all, because all is one. All is one. Oh, think of the magnificence of that. All is one. You are so much more than just your story. So we affirm now that the light of God shines in and through us, beyond us, and that we walk through the world knowing that we will place a healing hand where it's needed. We will look into the eyes of another and know that we see them and they see us. We will honor our planet. We will honor our bodies. And so, loving God, we can hardly contain this goodness. Thank you for healing us from the bottom up, from the inside out, so that we might know our wholeness, our divinity, our purpose in the world. And we are so grateful. And we say, Amen and Amen.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Sing with me, won't you? One people living on one planet, joining in one family. We are all one. Let's do that again. One people living on one planet, joining in one family. We are all one. One people living on one planet, joining in one family. We are all one. One people living on one planet, joining in one family. We are all one. We are all one. We are all one.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Joe, I jumped the gun. We gotta.
What do we want to do?
No, we gotta do that part.
Do we have another song?
No.
Okay, we have an offertory blessing.
Well, I mean,
Good.
but not today.
It's Jill Carey.
Hi, Jill. Kid Holmes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Nice working with you.
Oh, you too as well.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Time for our offering. I was just going to subtly just drift off the stage and let you do your thing there.
It was really subtle, too. That was really, really nice.
Wow. Okay, this is the time in our service when we have a chance to give back to all the excellence, to all the goodness, to all that you've received here. It's part of our prosperity consciousness. We give where we're spiritually nourished. And so we're grateful for these gifts, and we know that Spirit is working through us to support all that's needed for our community and beyond. So let's take a moment to take your gifts into your heart. They are expressions of your energy as we prepare our offerings and as our ushers come forward. We offer now this affirmation of abundance. Together, divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
When I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. I wish I was home. I wish I was back there with the things I've been knowing. Wind that makes the tall trees bend into leaning. Suddenly the snowflakes that fall have a meaning. Sprinkling the scene makes it all clean. Maybe there's a chance for me to go back now that I have some direction. It would sure be nice to be back home where there's love and affection. And just maybe I can convince time to slow up, giving me enough time in my life to grow up. Time be my friend. Let me start again. Suddenly my world's gone and changed its face, but I still know where I'm going. I have had my mind spun around in space, yet I've watched it growing. If you're listening, God, please don't make it hard for us to understand the things that we see. Tell us, should we run away? Should we try to stay? Or is it better just to let things be? Living here in this brand new world might be a fantasy, but it's taught me to love, so it's real to me. And I've learned that we must look inside our hearts to find a love that a world like yours and mine, like home, like
Seriously, you all are wonderful, and I thank you for making me better at what I do. Thank you. You bless us all. So now, these offerings, these gifts that you've given are here before you. With full hearts, let us bless them together. We bless these gifts and the givers with our love and gratitude. Now let's take a moment to welcome all who are with us for the very first time today. If you would raise your hands so that we can greet you. Yeah. Jason, Marion, you don't fool me for a second. Remember now to register online for the women's retreat as soon as possible before time runs out. And join us Wednesday night at 6:30 for class 2 of the Anatomy of the Spirit. What we talked about today, we go into more depth, more detail, more personal intimacy with each other in the class. So if you came last week and you felt a little overwhelmed by all that information, there was a lot there. This lesson will be much more specific, so please join us. And don't forget to bring your fashion accessory donations to church for the fundraiser, which is, Karen, a great idea. As always, our blue prayer request sheets are on the back table, the yellow gratitude sheets for the gratitude jar, and a prayer chaplain is available to pray with you after the service. Now, let's sing in our kids.
Courtney.
I'm sorry?
Courtney.
Where is she? Courtney has an announcement. So, hey, just hold up a second, or you can play Courtney in if you'd like.
Thank you all for being here this morning. I guess we don't have a lot of room outside to park canoes, but you all made it here. So, as you know, we are coming together, and that looks like that what's going on in here is going on in there, is going on in there, so that whenever y'all all leave here, y'all have been talking about the same thing. Y'all have been discussing the same thing, so y'all have things to talk about. You can give your point of view, and they can give their point of view, and it's just coming together. So, in that, the kids, the younger kids, will have a sheet that discusses what they talked about Sunday, and it also gives an action step. So this week, because it was Tribal Power, talks about community and inclusion. And this week, we're asking that the parents find some opportunity to have their children experience some inclusive situation, whether they're inviting other children to play or you're encouraging them to go and play, but some kind of inclusion. And then it has some other information. So that, and we are going to also be updating the registration. Some of our registration is really old, so there's registration sheets in there by the sign-out sheet. If you will fill that out again and leave it, then we'll have an updated everything, and we'll go from here. I think that's it. I feel a little unprepared because I'm cooking pizza.
Thank you, Courtney. All right, now let's welcome our children in. You are a light, you are a light, you are a light in this world. You are a light. Leah, you want to get this? You are a light in this world. I'm going to move it over just a little bit. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. And so I'm excited about what we're doing with our children. I'm excited about all of the ideas and the energy that Courtney's bringing to what we're doing. So you'll see a difference in what your children are doing in Sunday school, and we're working differently with our YOU, so yippee. So let's bless our children and youth of unity. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you just the way you are. And now our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us.
I am the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
I am the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
I am the power of God.
The presence of God watches over us.
I am the presence of God.
Wherever we are, God is, because I am.
I release, I let go, I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release, I let go, I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release, I let go, I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm week, everybody. Be safe out there.